Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a great pleasure to be here today, and my thanks to Matthew for the invitation to speak today. As the leading voluntary provider of dementia-specific services and as an advocacy organisation, the Alzheimer's Society warmly welcomes the opportunity to talk about the forthcoming National Dementia Strategy. Why? It's something very close to our hearts. We have invested so much of our organisation's energy over lots of years to see this happen. We are resolutely committed to having it delivered, and indeed something that we believe can, if we get it right, have a real impact on the lives of people with dementia. Many other countries across the world have developed dementia strategies. They all vary in their focus, but at the core of all of the plans is the need for improved rates of early diagnosis, as well as developing a range of supports and services. I understand that the Department of Health representative was unable to be here today, so as well as providing an update on where things are at with the dementia strategy and the steps taken to progress the plan, I will also seize this opportunity to talk to you about some of the work that we have been doing on the advocacy side in relation to the strategy. So every cloud. Many of us here today would probably say that 2011 was a significant year for the 42,000 Irish people living with dementia and their 50,000 carers. It was an election year, and the programme for government published following the election had in it the first critical step, a commitment to developing a national dementia strategy by 2013. As a result of this commitment, the Department of Health has engaged in a range of steps and activities over the past 2 years to progress the development of the strategy. It commissioned a piece of research resulting in the publication of a report in January of last year entitled Creating Excellence in Dementia Care, a research review for Ireland's National Dementia Strategy. Associate Professor Suzanne Cahill, Professor Eamon O'Shea and Dr Maria Pearce present the key findings from an extensive review undertaken on dementia in Ireland. The review involves secondary data analysis and the use of census data to estimate current and future prevalent rates of dementia in Ireland. It also involves an in-depth literature review, including an exploration of best practice in dementia care nationally and internationally. The research, funded by Atlantic Philanthropies, presents a comprehensive and contemporary analysis of the Irish dementia landscape. Prior to this publication, we had to go back to the seminal work in 1999, the Action Plan for Dementia by Professor Eamon O'Shea. So in addition to the research work, in July of last year, the department invited interested parties to make submissions on their views of what should be contained in the strategy by placing ads in the national press like this one. I cut it out and kept it because it does represent, in a very small way, a defining moment on the journey in relation to achieving the strategy. The department received over 70 submissions, and it posted a synopsis of those submissions to its website last month. Just to give you a flavour of the type of organisations that made submissions, they included Nursing Home Ireland, Age and Opportunity, Society of Chartered Physiotherapists, College of Psychiatry of Ireland, the Irish Society of Physicians in Geriatric Medicine, the Irish College of General Practitioners, and Board Alternate and the IMO. The department's synopsis grouped the responses of the submissions into key themes, including awareness raising, early diagnosis and intervention, community services, long-term care, acute care, and research. The Alzheimer's Society of Ireland also made a submission to the department entitled Reclaiming Dementia, Transforming the Lives of People with Dementia. So the next stage of the planning process, as outlined by the department, is the development of a terms of reference and the appointment of members to a working group. We understand that the appointment of the working group members is imminent. The broad brushstrokes of the membership of the working group have been indicated by Minister Lynch to include a geriatrician, a psychiatrist of old age, a neurologist, a GP, an NGO, a person with dementia, a carer and service provider representation. At a recent meeting with officials from the department who will be responsible for writing the strategy, they indicated to us that the working group would be small in size and that it is also exploring the idea of having thematic subgroups that would engage with a greater number of the stakeholder groupings. Their view, and the view of government, is that the National Dementia Strategy is one of a quartet of strategies that will complement each other in their implementation. This includes the Carer Strategy, which was published in 2012, the Healthy Ireland Strategy launched in recent weeks, the National Positive Ageing Strategy just launched on Wednesday, and the last one being the National Dementia Strategy. At this point, we have no indication yet of what the terms of reference for the working group will look like. So the Department has also indicated to us that the dementia strategy will be published at the end of 2013. So in essence, this really is the update as to where the National Dementia Strategy is at. We as an organisation hope to be part of the process, and we will continue to keep the lines of communication open with key stakeholder groups and provide updates of the progress. So what has the Alzheimer's Society been doing? Over the last number of years, our advocacy work has pretty much focused on creating political awareness and gaining political commitment to making dementia a health priority. I would suggest that we have lots of political sympathy, but our challenge is to translate this sympathy into action. We will continue to work at the most senior political levels to ensure that the strategy is delivered. In other countries, those at the highest political levels have made dementia a priority, invested resources and promoted a range of actions. World leaders include President Sarkozy, Minister Cameron and President Obama all fall into this category. Last year, we commissioned 3 policy papers written by dementia experts on core themes in relation to the strategy. One on integrated care pathways, one on financing dementia, and a third providing a clinician's perspective. And I suppose the idea behind commissioning those policy papers was to generate ideas and contribute to a more informed debate on the development of the strategy. This year, we held 2 clinician roundtables to facilitate a series of discussion on the core clinical elements of the National Dementia Strategy, to enable clinicians to have their voice heard in the policy-making process and to add weight to our own advocacy work. The first meeting took place in January, involving 27 geriatricians, psychiatrists of old age, neurologists and neuropsychologists, many of whom are in the room today. Just 2 weeks ago, we held a second clinicians' roundtable, this time engaging 31 multidisciplinary clinicians, OTs, physios, speech and language therapists, nurses and social workers. I suppose it is remarkable the level of commonality of the themes that were raised in relation to the core clinical elements at both events. The need for clinical leadership, the lack of equity of access to services, the need for integrated dementia care pathways and nurse-led case management services, the essential role of early diagnosis and early intervention, the need to move away from the current crisis-driven mode of dementia care, and of course the recurring motif of the lack of any supports or services for younger people with dementia. Equally remarkable is the energy, commitment and professionalism of those clinicians that we engaged with who want to contribute, want to be part of the change and who want to advocate for a better life for people with dementia. They're the real champions and represent really what is right about the system. One of the actions we've progressed from the first clinicians roundtable is the development of a business plan to advocate for the introduction of a clinical care programme for dementia within the HSE Clinical Programmes Directorate. The Alzheimer's Society is currently collaborating with 4 clinicians as authors on the writing of the business plan, 75% I think of whom are in the room today. Doctors Tony Foley, GP, Siobhan Hutchinson, neurologist, Sean Kennelly, geriatrician, with input from the Irish Society of Physicians in Geriatric Medicine, and Dr. Henry O'Connell, psychiatrist of later life, with input from the Faculty of Old Age Psychiatry. Our business plan argues that a strong and unified clinical care programme for people with dementia will support people and their families on the journey, as well as providing leadership and direction for all healthcare professionals involved in their care. And it's much needed. The clinical care programme would be central to supporting the delivery of services to people with dementia, regardless of age or clinical profile. Dementia politics is certainly on the move. This period in the history of dementia politics is going to stand out given the level and pace of change, the nature of the shifting discourse of dementia, and the growth in interest and investment in cutting-edge dementia research. In the 21st century, we now have dementia recognised as a major global issue with the publication last year of the UN report, Dementia, a Public Health Priority. Dementia is now also recognised at EU levels as a major health and social care issue. The politics of dementia have been hugely influenced by the emerging voice of the person with dementia, and we've heard that so strongly from Seamus this morning. And to this end, the Alzheimer's Society recently launched the Irish Working Group of People with Dementia. The group held its first meeting in February and will meet again in May. The ongoing shift towards putting the person at the centre will mean the agency of the person will be valued and that their voice will be central to influencing what goes on in their lives. Professor Alistair Burns, the Clinical Director for Dementia in England, at a recent conference talked compellingly about a dementia strategy as an excuse to plan, as giving people permission to do something, and how, if we get it right for people with dementia, we get it right for everyone. Thank you.